What's good YouTube, it's your boy Nohok back with another tutorial, and today we're gonna be going over how to make this fire guitar loops that you can use for a wide variety of genres like UK drill, hip hop, trap, Latin, and many more. So let's get into it. As always, both of these loops are gonna be available on my next free loop kit, which is gonna be dropping next week. So stay tuned for that, hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell so you don't miss out on that one. Let me play y'all the first loop. It's actually so fire. Let's just start deconstructing it so you can see what's going on. I started with this guitar right here. Let me play it for y'all. So for the guitar, we're using my favorite contact library of all time, which is the Ilya Efimov nylon guitar. This is such a realistic guitar, and obviously I always recommend for you guys to use an actual guitar if you can. In this case, I don't have one, so I gotta resort to using plugins, but you're not gonna regret using this one, man. It's really good, as you heard. So we're in the key of F sharp minor for this one, and it's just two chords if I put it in simple terms. B minor right here, and then the F sharp minor right here on this side. Let me just draw the simple chords real quick. So yeah, I opened FL keys and then I drew the chords. So it's basically just this. What I did is that I took this D right here in the B minor chord and I put it up an octave. That's called an inversion. And I just did that to make the chords more interesting. I just added a 7 right here on this last chord. But again, it's essentially just a 2-chord progression. After I laid down those first chords, I started playing around with it, adding more notes on top of them until I got the rhythm that I heard in my head. If you take out the top notes, it sounds like this. Hold on. So yeah, the top notes are what's giving it that vibe, and it's really just filling in the spaces where you think your progression might need some more rhythm or some more movement. And if you're not sure if you're hitting the right notes, you just go into the view tab right here and then you press scale highlighting and then you go into automatic if you already have your chords laid out. But if you don't, just select your key, minor natural, and then you just go to the root note, which is probably gonna be F sharp. Okay, so moving on into the processing side of it, I started with some EQ to boost the low mids and the high mids. Then obviously I had to add some RC20 to give it some color and a little bit of noise. And finally I just added some compression with a fast attack because I wanted to tame some peaks and not let the transients hit that hard. After that, we got this background accent sound. Let me play it for y'all. So that sound comes from this library called Soul Sessions, and it's basically like a library of one-shots that you can mix and match. It's actually pretty cool. You get to change all of these settings and you can go into the macros and advanced effects tab, so you can edit them however you want. It's an extremely simple melody that's just accentuating the notes that the chord progression is hitting. For the processing of that, I just panned it to the left and then I added Tape Mellify, which is like an alternative if you don't have RC20. I think this plugin was free for a while. I don't know anymore. You gotta check on their Turia website, but it's a really realistic plugin for the tape effect. If you're looking for that, go get it. Then I added some effector with the Vox tab on that I love, and finally some simple delay. So let's just get into this vocal loop, which sounds like this. So this loop is from my Cymatics pack, and shout out Cymatics, their packs are just next level, man. So the first thing that I did with this loop is I pitched it down 300 cents to put it in the correct key of the loop, and then I time stretch it to fit the tempo. When you time stretch stuff, you're always gonna put it on stretch mode, otherwise you're gonna change the key randomly. So yeah, for the effects, I just added some distortion with the 3D fast distortion, then some EQ to give that underwater effect where you cut the highs and cut the lows of the lows. Final thing is this shaper box right here, just doing some panning automation to give some movement. Now let's just go into this piano layer, which sounds like this. Okay, so this one comes from one of my favorite free plugins on the market. Is this Spitfire Audio Labs. Whenever you want to do like some vibey piano ambient type of stuff, this is gonna be your best friend. And what I'm doing right here is I just laid down the main chords. Again, the same 2-chord chord progression, but with the little tweaks I did. I kind of did like a counter melody on the same pattern where you're just filling spaces but with longer notes when compared to the guitar melody. So for processing, I literally just leveled it, and then I added a little bit of stereo separation, and I added some curves just for widening purposes. Ah, bless you, man. Thank you. So the next sound is this background lead, which sounds like this. Okay, so I'm processing this one a lot, but without effects, it sounds like this. As you can see, it's a huge difference. This is a preset from Prophet VS5. It's called Artistic Facts. It's kind of a dull sound, but I saw the vision, you know what I'm saying? I knew it was gonna sound good after I processed it. First thing I did is add some curves effect. And I went into Shaperbox and I found this sequence pad. I just set the mix level down because it was kind of doing too much. I wanted to cut the lows and the highs just to get a clean sounding lead, you know what I'm saying? And finally, some multivine compression with OTT. Then I set my levels right and panned it to the right, and that's how I got that sound. So the next sound we got is this cello. It sounds like this. I'm gonna drop some sauce right here, man. This is one of my favorite libraries for orchestral type of sounds. It's called Nucleus by Audio Imperia. It's a great library, man. Very realistic, has a bunch of useful sounds that you can tweak to your liking. What I always do is I set the start to as fast as I can, because otherwise you're gonna get that slow attack. The melody was basically made to give off like a nostalgic vibe. It fits nicely with the guitar, so it doesn't really like outshine it. It's sitting in the background fairly well. And for the processing, I added nothing, man. The last sound I got is just a simple sub bass. It's just a simple sine wave from 3x oscillator. You could say the only weird thing I did is this light note right here. But other than that, it's just playing the root notes. Let's just go into the second loop for today. Let me show it to y'all. So yeah, it's a pretty good loop for like a dancehall, maybe like a tone type of track. But yeah, let's just get into how I did this. I started out with this piano. Let me play it for y'all. This piano comes from Cubeatz Piano 5. It's a Japanese home clean preset, and it's a really clean sounding piano. Okay, so just like on the other loop, it's just a 2-chord chord progression. It's basically playing a D sharp minor chord right here in the first part, and then on the second part it's a B major chord. Again, the thing that I did to make it more interesting is just some inversions. As you can see right here, I flipped the F sharp right here. I just flipped it, and then on this side, the root note, which is B, then I flipped it out 1 octave. If I grab this chord right here, which is already flipped, but then I move it down 7 semitones, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, it's gonna be the same chord. That's another tip for y'all. And then I also have some lower notes right here to make the progression a little darker. On the processing for it, just some EQ, cutting the lows and boosting the mids a little to give it some more presence. And I just slightly panned it to the left, bro. Now let's just get into the interesting part, which is the guitar. Let me play it for y'all. You can see how this progression just fits so well because it's hitting the first and the 6th note of the scale, D sharp minor in this case. And that's basically another tip. If you want to make like a dark 2-chord chord progression, you start making some chords in the 1st and the 6th note of the scale, and you're just gonna get the ball rolling like that. This guitar again is the same plugin, the Ilya Afimov nylon guitar library in Contact. It's just following the same chord progression, nothing too crazy there, but the top notes are what's giving it the rhythm. You just gotta fill in the spaces, but in a way that makes sense for the rhythm of your track. For the processing of it, I added this guitar rig with the ZJ Ethervox preset, then I added some RC20, and finally some delay. Okay, now let's go into this accent, which sounds like this. This one comes from the Playbox library in Contact. This is a pretty cool library, but it's filled with like random but cool sounds, you know what I'm saying? And you get to play around with it. You just pick your key and then start moving this thing around. It's just playing 2 notes at the start of every bar, but it's accentuating the chords, so it's fine. I added no processing at all, but I panned it to the left, and we got the retro clock right here. So this preset comes from Synology. It's called the Ballad Panner in the Vintage Keys library. It's basically just a fairly simple counter melody and it pairs well with the guitar, so I just left it. So for the processing, I added a delay that goes into the chorus to give it an interesting effect. And then I panned it 100% to the right, and I just leveled the wet signal after that. And the last sound I got right here is this flute from Cymatics, which sounds like this. Yeah man, it's a crazy sound. It's just a melody that I thought was gonna sit fairly well in the background. So I added a Finisher Micro, which is a free plugin. If you don't have it, go get it, man. It's worth it. It's a simple plugin, but it's just so useful. I just set it to the infinity preset right here, and then I set the amount of the effect that I wanted, and that just gives it an ambience effect. Combined with the 77% stereo separation that I got right here, it sits very well in the background of the loop. So that was it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you guys tuning in every week. I will always be grateful for your support because it takes a lot of effort for me to make these videos. So please hit that subscribe button if you like my content. Leave a comment down below if you got any suggestion for my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.